My name is Gary Weber, and currently I'm a land use consultant with the Cajon Boulevard Business Improvement Association. I'm an urban planner, a member of the American Planning Association. I have been in San Diego since 1969. I moved here from Lexington, Kentucky. I grew up and was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, and went to the University of Cincinnati, which was the cheapest thing to do because my parents didn't have any money. The architecture program and the planning program were the same program the first year, and I was in the architecture program, and after taking structural engineering classes and business practices classes, I said, this isn't for me, this is going to be boring. And so I went off into urban planning and never looked back, and I'm glad that I did. And I graduated and took a job in Lexington, Kentucky, and worked in Lexington City County Planning Commission for 3 years, and then was hired over the telephone to come to San Diego. In about 1984, I was hired by the city to write the Mid-City Community Plan. And after that was adopted, to be honest, I started pestering the city about implementing the thing and not letting it sit on the shelf like plans have a habit of doing. And in many discussions back and forth, we looked at the formation of business improvement districts as one of the key goals and objectives of that plan, and that's how I started working on this. I was hired by the city in about 1985, I think, to form 5 business improvement districts in the Mid-City area. The commercial spines of these older neighborhoods were the most visible forms of deterioration, to be honest, and the thought was, amongst a lot of us, that if we improve the conditions and appearance of the business districts, that eventually the economic improvement would follow. And so those were considered a key component and one of the easier things to do because they didn't cost an enormous amount of money just to get districts started. In the early 1980s, I remember very well, there wasn't a stick of landscaping anywhere in sight. There were telephone poles from one end to the other. The asphalt medians, to be honest, didn't even correspond to the appropriate locations for left turns. 35th Street, for an example, was the entryway to Normal Heights on the north and City Heights on the south. And there was no left turn possible there, so you had to snake your way through the neighborhoods to go north or south. So part of what we wanted to do from an engineering point of view was straighten out the appearance of the left turn pockets so that they made sense from a traffic circulation point of view, and that led to the landscaping. Cajon Boulevard had an old association that had existed since the 1930s, so there was a group of people that I started meeting with about forming a business improvement district. Some of these other areas, like Adams and University Avenue, North Park, weren't as organized. There was a businessmen's club in North Park. There was nothing on Adams and nothing in the City Heights area. So my job was to go door to door and try and convince people, business people, that it was a good idea to assess themselves an annual fee in order for an organization to be formed to make improvements in the area. I probably saw more than anything the hideous appearance of this boulevard and had a desire to change that. And we talked about street lights, street trees, landscape medians. One thing led to another, and we undertook this median landscaping program. The planning literature talks about how private investment tends to follow public investment into these kind of areas. And the idea was, if we showed that the city, the public, was committed to making this area better, that private investment might well follow. I remember, interestingly, that someone on one of these associations said, well, it'll take 10 years to get all these medians built. And I said, it'll take 10 years from no matter when we start. And the fact of the matter is it took 20. But we have completed that, and we've added the boulevard sign, and now we have something that appearance-wise is substantially different from what it was. And in fact, private investment is following public investment, slowly, but it is. I think the next phase, and we're in our 10th year of making that phase work, is the private investment, the new construction. I've always seen this boulevard as having great potential for infill development, residential development, mixed-use development. We built our transit plaza at the Route 15 freeway when that thing came through so that we could see development next to and adjacent to a freeway in a very central location with a lot of access. It has not happened as much as we had hoped it would, but the city has expressed an interest in continuing to work on that. I'm very pleased that of all of these business improvement districts, 20 years later, 25 years later, they're still going, and there's still the interest among the people, and these are now community institutions. I worked in other areas than Mid-City, and in every case, these things have successfully brought together business people who were worrying about their own future and working in partnership with the city. I'm pleased that the appearance has changed, much as we anticipated it might. I'm not pleased that the business conditions are taking as long as they are, although I have to say, and on El Cajon Boulevard, there's never been more than a 5% vacancy rate, ever. There are businesses come and go, but new businesses are coming in as fast as old businesses are leaving, and that's a very healthy sign.